Okay, so here's my theory. Okay, so here's like a little 3D cute little drawing I've made of everything that's in this system here. Is not to scale, just a conceptual drawing. I've already made other videos about this. So here we have your sun. We've got satellite dishes orbiting around our sun, gathering its solar energy, converting its light via microwave energy. Then we have micro energies antennas that immediately convert the microwave energy to AC or other form of energy, or DC. Lasers going into the sun simulator, bouncing off like we had the patents. The light comes out, reflects off these dish, bounces off it. Another convex mirror here comes through the holes in the mirrors, bounces off, then goes on to the lens array here. This would be, I believe, the black dot that we see in the sky. And the flickering sun is due to the planetary bodies that are either in front of the solar rays, and that's what I'm hoping for, because if it's blocking these microwave energy, which are about a gigawatt of power per beam, either one would cause, that would be the direct source of energy for the lasers that are feeding the gas ionizing chamber of the sun simulator, orbiting approximately 256 miles. So whether the object is out here or in these beams, microwave beams, I think they're probably in here. If they're here, we don't have much time left. Okay, with that being said, the lens array, we have smaller ones in a further orbit and larger ones in a closer orbit, that all these micro lenses are focusing their light onto the center lens. So whatever object is out here passing through focuses the light beams into this lens and then reconverges it back onto us. So no matter how much this thing moves across all these different planes, by the way, these lenses are actually, I think, are overlapping one another. This is, again, just kind of very impossible to draw this thing to scale. So as this planetary body passes through the object in these lenses, its light will be focused onto a single lens on this one, and then creating a projection-like image on the Earth in 3D. And where the light converges from these lenses is the point where light is seen.
Okay, brace yourself, everyone. We're nearly through Jeff's shit.
So here is an article called the Rochester Cloak. You can see this for yourself at Rochester edu. But the light beams have a convergence point of both lenses where they match each other meeting at this sector. When it does, it will pick up the light and redirect it through the next one. You can hook these up in series. And when you do that, you set up what is called a cloaking field. And so here's an array of these, what I call an array of lenses. Notice they're matching the focal point of all lights. And in the middle is where it is cloaked, called a cloaking field. The problem with this, that these are in a series, one back in front of the other, but if the object moves outside of the field of lens, then you can see the object again. That is why I believe the configuration is like this, a whole bunch of lenses, and perhaps a third or fourth lens as well in this lens. So whatever object is out here, all the light is directed into the final lens, getting the images that we see. So no matter where it's positioned from here to here, it always appears still in space, and then suddenly skipping over possibly to the next lens or just disappearing. That mixed with its highly eccentric orbit as it approaches us and swings back away. So if you have any questions or need more evidence, go back into the archives of studying light bending technology
that JPL had put in space, and these are no ordinary lenses. These are ultra thin, I believe,
that JPL had created.
So then, there we have it. Jeff's fantasy lens system with all the poorly thought out problems. The simplest use prove this is mere bollocks. Obviously most of us do realise that this is utter rubbish anyway. But for those whom require a thought out debunk, here goes. First up, the altitude of the sun sim. Jeff puts this at around 256 miles, which is commensurate with the ISS, although this does have a variable altitude between 205 miles and 270 miles. Then you have lenses to focus the light on Earth, and lenses to hide all these lenses. Basically, just so the populace cannot see this remarkable piece of engineering. And Jeff reckons that it uses ultra-thin lenses from JPL. Well, these are going to need superstructure to hold and support them, keep them in shape, otherwise they're going to deform. You also need the hard points on this superstructure to attach boosters and the like, because you will need to keep things in orbital position. And the thing with this framework is it is likely to cross the back of the lens, because there will be substructures to support the shape. So your invisibility cloak isn't going to work, because the framework will be within the cloaking field, not hidden outside of it. And they also say they are hiding 2 constellations at this time. So what with hiding the sun during the day, and at night portions of the skies, I think you have a problem with scale. Herein lies your problem, or problems, I should say. To hide the sun sim, you would need to consider the whole of the sun side of Earth as a possible viewing point. So you have to have a lens system big enough to stop anyone anywhere on the globe surface seeing around it. And of course this would be the same for the nighttime sky. You need to obscure the view for the entire night side of the planet for the same reasons. If you're generous, let us say you only have to obscure 3/4 of the sun side or night side at any one time. You would need a giant spacewalk in orbit made up of all your lenses. Have you considered how big each lens is and how many you would need of a given size? Probably not, as I don't think you can conceive the scale of this thing. If you take the ISS as an example of its widest at 107 meters, let us consider a lens of comparable size for the sake of argument. Can you see the problem now, Jeffers? How many would you need? How much fuel to keep them all on point? Plus, and this happens to the ISS and all other satellites we have in orbit around Earth, occasionally they have to move to avoid space junk, hardware, or in the case of the ISS, be injurious to life. So moving a system this big all at once, out of the way of possible damage, whoops, we can see behind it. Oh, and the surface area you would need at minimum to blind the world to the sun and stars is phenomenal. In excess of 900 million square kilometers, in fact. A lot of lenses, metal, fuel, electronics, plus you have to avoid all the currently orbiting satellites, ISS, or you have to avoid them seeing you. With something unfeasibly this big, I don't think so. Oh, and one more thing, and this is really basic. The lenses would not appear fixed in the sky. If they have to stay between the Earth and the Sun, or whatever you think they are hiding at night, then as the Earth rotates, they will be seen to move across the sky, just like anything else we observe. Because if they're fixed, it means they're rotating with the Earth. So they're not going to hide anything. Well, I think that covers it. So good luck with that, Jeffers. You utter moron.